Hi there. So today I want to come on here and give you guys a little bit of an update on the lane over there. It's like a new garden bed that my husband and I put in this year, and it's in the full sun. I figured out when I started digging in there, well really before I started digging, for the last several years that area has flooded over there. Every time we get any sort of a heavy rain, there's just a massive puddle over there. I'd say about a third of the puddle is in my neighbor's yard. We just assumed that, you know, there's a low spot over there. When we dug up the sod and I started digging to plant all the plants that I got, I discovered that not only is there a low spot over there, so I actually brought in some more soil and raised it up about 3 inches, but it's like super clayey and poor draining over there, so it's got those two things going for it. And then also, oh, you want to come out here, buddy? Okay, I'm gonna go get Max. Come here, big boy. Yeah. Come with me? He's a good boy. So not only did it have those two things happening, but we had the sprinkler guys come over here for like a routine checkup. About halfway through the summer, they always come over and check all the sprinkler heads, make sure everything's working properly and it's spraying everywhere that we want it to spray. And I asked him, I'm like, can you just come over here and look at this section? It's flooded for years. I'm not really sure what's going on. It is a low spot, and I have poor draining clay soil, because, you know, I didn't know if there was like a leak over there or something. It seemed like it was just something else was going on. I couldn't put my finger on it. It just didn't make sense. He said his suggestion was to just raise it up more with more soil, and I'm like, all right, that's going to be a pain. But so anyway, he worked on the rest of the yard. He checked all the heads, all the different things he had to check. And then he came back and knocked on my door, and he said, hey, you know what? He's like, you're right. There is a leak going on over there. When I was checking all the heads, I turned that zone on, and we had just gotten like 3 inches of rain the day before. So it was super, super wet over there. It had flooded the day before. So it was already super wet. It wasn't drying out. And he came that following day. So when he turned that zone on, he had noticed that it was in fact flooding because it got extra wet. So then he cut like he turned 2 of the heads off that were in the area it was kind of flooding, and it got even worse because of the pressure flow through the lines. So he's like, there's for sure a leak over here. He couldn't figure out where the leak was because it was so wet over there from the previous rain that we had and also from what he had just done. He's like, there's no way I'm going to be able to find out where the leak is because it's like soaking wet over here. So what I suggest is we turn this zone off for a good week and a half or so. And as long as it doesn't rain, he's like, it should dry up within that time. I'll come back, we'll turn it back on and try to see if we can figure out where the leak is. So I was actually excited because now I know it's basically a trifecta of things. So the soil I can amend over time, the poor draining soil. The low spot, I'm not really going to worry about that. I'm hoping that when he figures out where the leak is, that will solve the majority of the problem. So I'm pretty excited. It's bittersweet, obviously, because there's an issue that we have, but I'm excited that he figured out what it is. So anyway, it's been about a week. We did get a pretty heavy rainfall a couple days ago when we were gone at the Strait concert, which was awesome. Actually, speaking of rain, the night that it rained here, we were at the Strait concert. We got to see all of Little Big Town's show, and we got to see all of Chris Stapleton's show, which was, oh my gosh. If you guys are Chris Stapleton fans and you've never seen him live, I've seen him a couple times now. If you can believe it, you know how sometimes people, they sound worse live than they do, on the album? Wow. All I can say is he sounds just as good or even better in person than on the album. And then Strait came out and played, and about, I don't know, I'm gonna guess he was about maybe halfway through, probably less than halfway through his set. It rained there was a rainstorm coming through, and it was fine because it was like 101 degrees that whole day, so everyone was blazing hot. But then, it stopped raining, but then they made him stop because it was like thunder and lightning, and then after that it downpoured. So he was pretty upset about it, but you know, obviously it's dangerous to be out there in the lightning, so we all had to go away, which is really sad. Maybe I'll try to put a couple clips in there, but buddy, you're doing so good. You want to say hi? Where's your other arm? Oh, there it is. So anyway, we got to see, you know what, I'm not going to complain because that's a once in a lifetime, I feel like, opportunity to see George Strait, because I don't know if he's going to tour much anymore. I think he's like 71 years old. He sounded amazing. He looked amazing. He was just, it was awesome. We had such a great time even with the rain out. So anyway, that same day that it rained there in Nashville, it rained here. But yeah, I thought we would take you over there. Maybe I'll try to put him on the harness. He seems pretty chill today. Buddy, you want to say hi to the friends? Look, they love you. You want to say hi? Yeah. Go show them our garden? You want to show them your fluffy tail? They love your fluffy tail. I feel like he looks kind of like a raccoon. So anyway, I'm going to take you over in the garden and just show you how the plants are doing. Another cool thing is these plants have been through it. There is a specific spot where this flooding happens, and as you go down closer into my gully, the soil isn't as clayey. It's a little bit better, and it doesn't flood down there, so those plants are doing pretty good. But the plants up where this is happening all the time, they have just been through it. I have lost one coneflower, 2 coneflowers I moved to a different spot and replanted with some compost and planted them up a little bit higher. But you want to go out there, buddy? Should we go out there? But anyway, enough talking. Let's go out there and check out the plants. Max decided not to come. He's gonna stay right there. Sometimes he gets like a little bit scared out here. If he hears any sort of like machine noise, like a mower or a blower or even a truck, we've got like over past that farmer's field there's a pretty heavily traveled road, I guess you would say, and you can hear like the trucks over the field like really well, kind of similar to when you can hear the planes going across. When the planes come across here, it's just like sounds like a jet coming across the sky. So anyway, anytime he hears anything like that, he gets a little bit scared, which I'm actually okay with, because I'd rather have him be timid than just like try to run around and get lost somewhere. But all right, let's take a look at the plants. This is the bed I'm talking about. Down closer to this section, the soil is a little bit better, so these plants have performed much better than the ones up in the flooding area. So this is the area that floods, and it kind of goes over into my neighbor's yard, and it has for years. So anyway, these plants are all doing really great. I've just got some wildberry heuchera in here. These are lady's mantle. This is an Amazing Daisies spun silk, and it's doing just fine. I've already deadheaded a lot of them. My quince that my Aunt Mary gave me is doing great. So the grass is doing good. This is one of the coneflower I did have to fix, I think. So I dug the one up that was there and put it somewhere else, and then put that one in from another spot in my garden. This hydrangea right here, this is a ruby, and Invincible ruby, and it has been struggling a little bit. You can see there's still some yellowing going on from getting a ton of moisture, so I just picked those leaves off. But what I did is I came in here and I completely dug it up, put a ton of compost in here and raised it up quite a bit, and it's doing a lot better. It's even throwing on some more blooms, so that's encouraging. This sedum right here is doing amazing. I was a little bit worried about the sedum because sedum likes it dry, and so I wasn't sure how it would perform out here in this low spot, but it hasn't even skipped a beat. Same thing with this penstemon. It is just blooming like crazy. I don't see any signs of struggle from the moisture situation. It's doing really great. So this is a Midnight Masquerade penstemon, and these are the Bright Ideas sedum. This is another coneflower I had to replace. So I had a red one here, and I can't remember the name of it, but I dug it up, transplanted it somewhere else in my garden, and then I found that to replace it with from my garden. The lupin is doing okay. You can see there was a little bit of a struggle here, but this also just happens with lupin. The bottom leaves brown up. But this has bloomed a couple different times already. These salvia are doing really great. I'm happy with how they are doing, and they've also actually, I think, put on a little bit of growth since I planted them. Of course, my grass is doing great, and the quince I planted for my Aunt Mary. Oh, I gotta come in here and cut all those little branches off that tree. So now we start to get into the flooded spot. This right here is the flood area. And I'll try to see if I can find a picture of what it does. But so these plants in here are the ones that have struggled the most. Mainly that hydrangea there, but it's popping back. I did the same thing with that. I dug it up, put a ton of compost in there. But this is where, when that guy came out to check our sprinklers, this is the area that was flooding the most. Like, he was stepping on it and his foot was almost like sinking an inch or two into the ground. And it was right by this hydrangea. So he's thinking that the leak is around this area somewhere. So we'll see if this hydrangea makes it through. I'm pretty hopeful because at least half of it looks all right. But the rest of the stuff is doing pretty decent considering what it's been through. One of the things being this artemisia down here. I wasn't sure how this artemisia would do because I have tried artemisia before, the silver mound, and it just doesn't do good in my yard, especially in a super wet area. So you can see there is some damage here, some yellowing and browning. That is definitely from the flooding, but it's holding on. This one is called, I left the tag so I could remember, Silver Brocade. So I'm pretty happy with how that's performing considering it probably does not like it here at all. This is the hydrangea. You can see half of it is all right. And it did actually just rain out here, so that didn't help. Same thing over here. I kind of have a duplicate of that Midnight Masquerade and Bright Ideas, and they're doing just fine. It's crazy to me because this area is like super floody. You can see a little bit of stress here on this hydrangea. This is the Quickfire Fab. These hydrangeas are very tough, so I know it will be fine as soon as we get the leak situation figured out. And I will probably come in once he fixes it and finds the leak. I'll probably come in and raise this one up too. That coneflower, I cannot believe how good it's doing considering the other ones I had to replace. Let's see, the delphinium's doing all right. It is struggling a little bit, but I'll probably come in and raise that up once he's done digging around. That Shasta is not doing the greatest, but it's still alive. I did deadhead some of it. I got a deadhead more. I'll probably raise all three. Well, I'll probably raise these two things up as well once he's done digging around. These pink diamonds, oh man, these ones get flooded probably the most. So they're not dead yet. That one looks the best. And they actually just kind of took a turn for the worse within the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. There's still like new growth, and it's that blue growth right there at the bottom. So I'm hopeful that these will be okay, but I do want to come in here and raise these up and get some compost in there as well once he's done digging around. This one gets flooded quite a bit too. This is a lemony lace elderberry, but I think it's doing okay because I did raise it up and add compost. Same thing with this hydrangea. It was raised up and compost added. My heuchera is doing just fabulous. That's not skipping a beat. That coneflower is doing all right. I did come in and deadhead all of the dead stalks off of it. That one I have to deadhead too. It's just I think that's Amazing Daisy's Daisy May, and this lupin. I had another red lark delphinium there, but it broke off in a rain and windstorm. So for the most part, considering like the trifecta of issues that I'm having out here with the poor draining soil, the low spot, and the leak that we still have to find, the plants are doing fairly well. So I'm pretty proud of them at this point. So I want to take you over and show you the plants that I am saving for when that is all set. When he comes back, he's gonna find the leak, and then we'll get in there and start doing some digging and raising and planting. Buddy, you could have came out here with me. It's so fun. It's so fun. Yeah, you're just a good boy. Let's go over on this side of the house and I'll show ya what I'm thinking. Boy, this tree needs to be pruned back. Big time. This is kind of the spot where I hold some of my plants that I want to plant because it's right by the hose there and I can water them easily. But I picked up these 3 little trees the other day, and so I'm holding off on planting them, like I said, until he gets that area figured out for me, and then we'll go ahead and plant these cute trees in there. So this is just a false cypress hinoki tree. This is just a globe blue spruce tree, and then this is just a sienna sunset arborvitae tree, and they're all on a standard. I wanted something completely different out there. I've got all these beautiful plants. Most of these my mom actually dropped off the other day. She gave me 3 peachberry ice heuchera. I love this plant. It's a proven winner from the Primo series. She brought me some Rudbeckia. This is a newer Rudbeckia called Gold Blitz, so it's supposed to kind of resemble like the old-fashioned Rudbeckia, but it's not supposed to spread as much as the old one, so we'll see how that does. She also brought me this Rudbeckia, and I'm blanking on the name, Autumn Colors. So that's going to be really pretty. It's like a mix of the yellow and this bronzy orange one. I loved it. And then of course I have all these little plants I wanted to plant out there, the ones that I got the other day for super cheap at the greenhouse. So a couple more Rudbeckia, some butterfly weed, a bloodgrass, this really neat flax, some midnight raider geranium, and an oregano, the Kent Beauty. Yeah, so that's what's going on over here in the lane at my house. I'm kind of at a standstill until that area dries up. We do have the guy scheduled to come out next week. On Tuesday, I think he's coming out to kind of assess the situation and find out what's going on under there, find the leak and fix it. And as soon as he does that, I'm gonna get back out there and start planting. I really want to plant these trees because like where I had that heuchera and the 3 orange heuchera is where I want to put this blue tree. Where I had those purple salvia, those 3 purple salvia is where I want to put this really pretty yellowy color. And then down at the end where I've got just lots of color going on that leads you down into my gully, it's like a ton of stuff going on, I just wanted this straight green hinoki tree. So really excited to get these trees in there. And I'm also excited to get the plants that my mom gave me along with some newer plants that I haven't really tried, like the Kent Beauty oregano, that flax, and the bloodgrass. I'm really excited too because I haven't done those before. So anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, coming along on this journey with me, and thanks for all your suggestions around my poor soil. I really appreciate all of your guys' expertise because you've been there before. That's the cool thing about gardening and just like kind of life in general. You know, a lot of times when you're going through something, you just feel so defeated and at a loss for answers, but there's usually someone around you that has been through the same thing, and they can help you through it, and they can say, you know what, this is horrible what you're going through, but this is what I did, this is what helped me, this is what didn't help me, and that's why we have each other. And you can really apply that in everything in life, even in gardening. And boy, you guys are just out there doing that for people. You're out there helping, and even some of the suggestions that I necessarily can't apply because I'm in a different zone, or I've tried it and it didn't work or whatever, someone else can come through and read that and be like, oh, I'm gonna try that. So not only are you helping me, like you're helping whoever else reads that comment. And it's really neat. I really appreciate it. Like there are some people who say like, you should really try this really helped me. And then I've noticed lately there's like the thumbs up, and there's like 13 thumbs ups to that comment. And that's 13 people that thumbs up your comment and was like, thank you so much. So anyway, I just appreciate you guys, and boy, I'm gonna pop off before I start crying because it's just like really encouraging and such a blessing to have this little family. But anyway, have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon, and we'll get these trees planted up.